All right, guys, it's Miss Toolin, and I'm back this Friday to read to you Chapter 10 of Lily's story. We left off, and Maggie Rose was kind of hiding Lily in what seemed like a cat bed, and Lily had something zipped over her head. So I love seeing some of your predictions yesterday. Let's see if you were right on what Maggie Rose has planned. Maggie Rose picked up the entire bed with me in it. I spread out my paws as that thing swung back and forth, trying to keep my balance. Nothing like this had ever happened to me before. We moved quickly and quietly down the hallway and out a door, and soon we were in Dad's truck. Maggie Rose opened the back door and put my cat bed on the floor between the seats. I stared up through the mesh top at her, utterly bewildered. Okay, Lily, she said urgently. Please be quiet, okay? Okay, please be quiet. Obviously, be quiet meant to do something, but I had no idea what. Bark? Maggie Rose shut the door. Her feet dangled above me. The mesh top of the cat bed was sort of like a blanket. It was soft, and when I pushed my nose against it, I could make it move. But I could not climb past it to get to my girl. I wagged, pretty confused by all of this. All right, Lily, my girl said, just one more thing. I promise you, this is all going to be fine, but I need you to be really, really quiet, okay? Be quiet. There were those words again. Maybe they had something to do with what happened next, which was that a blanket came down and landed on top of the cat bed. Now I could not see my girl. What were we doing? The blanket smelled like a lot of dogs. I liked that part, but wanted to be able to see Maggie Rose. I heard another door open and shut immediately and smelled Dad. Fasten your seatbelt, honey, Dad said. I felt the truck start to move with a lurch. This was all very strange. I didn't understand why I was lying in a cat bed with a blanket over it. Last time I was in the truck, I was allowed to sit at my girl's feet. This was not the same thing at all. Probably Maggie Rose would figure that out soon. Any moment, she would whip off that blanket and let me out, and Dad would be so happy to see me. But Maggie Rose didn't seem to get it. I tried to be patient, but after what seemed like a long, long time, I began to worry that my girl had forgotten all about me. We were bouncing along, and no one was paying me any attention. I was her dog. How could she possibly forget me? Unable to take it any longer, I finally let out a small whine. Not a loud one, just a tiny cry to remind her that I was still stuck inside that cat bed. There was no response at all. Well, if there is anything a puppy knows how to do, it is to make noise. I squealed a little louder. What in the world was that? Dad exclaimed. What was what? Maggie Rose responded. No one said my name yet. No one seemed to be planning to let me out of this cat bed. I tried an even louder whine. That, Dad said, there's an animal in here. An animal? Maggie Rose replied innocently. Maggie Rose, Dad said, don't play games with me. Is there something you want to tell me? Want to tell you? Maggie Rose repeated. No, Daddy. There's nothing that I want to tell you. All right, Dad said. Is there something that you need to tell me? That you're a really good driver? Well, time for me to get serious. I barked. Maggie Rose, Dad asked pleasantly. What just barked from back there? A puppy? Maggie Rose guessed. Did you have a dog in the back with you? Dad asked. Yes, but Dad, there were some people coming to take Lily away, Maggie replied in a rush. She wouldn't understand. She knows I'm her person. She would think I was giving her up. And just then there was an odd tinkling sound from up near Daddy. That's your mom calling, I heard him say. My guess is that she figured out Lily isn't in her pen. Hang on. The truck swerved, got slower, and stopped. Hello? Hi, honey. I think I might know why you're calling. Dad was quiet for a moment, but I heard my girl twisting in her seat. Right, I guess Lily's in the pet carrier in the back. Maggie Rose was just explaining why disobeying her parents was a good idea. Dad was quiet, the girl was quiet, I was quiet. I will have that conversation with her, yes, Dad said. Talk to you soon, Chelsea. Love you too. Dad was silent for a minute. I prepared myself to bark again. That's your mother, Maggie Rose. My girl said. Maggie Rose, you have to know that taking Lily without permission was wrong. Your mother was worried that she found that she'd lost the puppy from the shelter. But Dad, they want to take Lily away from me, Maggie Rose cried. My girl needed me. I barked again, the blanket came off, and I could see Dad peering at me between the front seats. I wagged at him frantically. Maggie Rose hadn't figured out that it was past time to let me out of here, but Dad would surely know. I was right. Dad reached down, and there was the same strange sensation of moving and tilting as he picked up the cat bed. He opened it, and I surged out, licking his face. He chuckled, and then he put the cat bed down. placing it at my girl's feet. I stood up on my back legs and licked her feet and knees. I was so happy to see her. All right, good dog. Lie down, Lily. My girl pushed me firmly, and I understood she wanted me to stop trying to climb up. I sat in the open cat bed and gazed up at her adoringly. Soon we were moving again. Maggie Rose, Dad said, after a long moment of no talking. Your mom runs an animal rescue, and the job of the rescue is to find homes for creatures who are lost or abandoned. Lily could live at our home, Maggie Rose replied instantly. I wagged at the sound of my girl saying my name. We will get a dog someday, Maggie Rose, but right now we just have too much going on with your brothers. Sports, your school, and our work. It will be much better when you're older and you can take care of a puppy. I can take care of Lily now, she said insistently. I promise. Dad sighed. It's a lot more complicated than that. Your mother's the boss of the rescue, but she reports to the board members. Do you know what that means? The board of rescue are the people who make the important decisions. So your mom is the boss, but the people on her board are her bosses. Your mother always has to keep that in mind. Also, your mother must consider that the volunteers who work there would think, not to mention the people who donate money to the shelter. How is it going to look if your mother breaks her own rules and keeps the best puppy for herself? I could clearly see and smell my girl's feet, which was nice. I was much happier than I had been when I was underneath the blanket. I stretched out for a nap because it was, after all, a bed. A cat bed, but still a bed. Dad, please, I promise. I will take care of Lily, Maggie Rose begged. I promise I will feed her and walk her and clean up her mess in the yard, and I'll give her baths and play with her every day. Please. Hang on, honey, Dad said. I'm getting another call. My girl made a frustrated noise. The truck stopped once more, and Maggie Rose leaned forward and put her hands inside my cat bed. I sniffed her fingers and gave her a lick. I wanted her to know that even though we were having a very strange day and I was sitting in a small bag at her feet, I loved her and she'd always be my girl. Nothing could ever change that. All right, I should be there in 10 minutes. Bye, Dad said. The truck began to move once more. Maggie Rose was going to have to check out the mountain goats some other day. That was a call from the sheriff's department. They've got a deer caught up in a wire fence. I guess it's in a pretty bad way. Oh no, can you help it? Maggie Rose cried. I looked up at her with concern. She sounded very alarmed about something and needed her puppy in her lap. I sat up, preparing for the leap. I hope I can help it. We'll just have to see, Dad replied. Sometimes the deer cut themselves on the wire trying to get free, but usually the wounds are very shallow. The biggest danger comes from their reaction when people approach. That's when deer get frantic and can really hurt themselves. I'll help, Maggie Rose proclaimed. Dad chuckled. That's my game warden girl, but no, you're not going to help. If a trapped deer is kicking and struggling, it can injure people. These are always tricky situations. We'll have to see when we can get there if it can get help or not. Sometimes we can't. Then what? My girl wanted to know. Dad was silent for a moment. It's the worst part of my job, he finally replied, but we can't allow animals to suffer needless pain. If it comes to that, Maggie Rose, I'll tell you so that you can look away. I felt a flash of worry and anxiety from my girl now. I leaped and made it into her lap. Lily, my girl said with a surprised laugh, but her mood instantly better. No, you silly dog, you have to get down. I was amazed and baffled when she dumped me back into the cat bed. I had just been doing my most important job, and it was much easier to do on her lap than at her feet. When the truck stopped, Dad got out, and Maggie Rose bent down to pick me up. Finally, I licked and licked my girl while she giggled and turned her face from side to side so I could kiss every bit of her. Enjoy. Stop, Lily, she laughed. I heard my name and figured she wanted me to keep on kissing. Dad left the truck, shutting his door behind him, but after a long moment, he came back and opened the door behind us. I turned to try and climb up Maggie Rose and over the seat to see him, but my girl held me tightly. Well, I'm afraid it's bad, he said. Oh, no, Maggie Rose said softly. I heard Dad opening some bags and moving things around. She's really bound up. We can't just cut the wires. We need to untangle her. And right now, her back is to us, and her nose isn't good enough to know where they are. But the second that she catches sight of people, she's going to start kicking. He shut the back door and opened the one next to us. The good news is that she's not injured. She's up against the fence post on one side, and it's keeping her from fighting the wire. Maggie Rose, I want to try something. It's a crazy idea, but it might just work. Do you think I can borrow Lily for a little bit? What do you think Dad is going to do with Lily to help him rescue the deer that's all caught up in the fence? Go ahead and comment below in our Google Classroom post.